Chop it up with Chop, baby. Shout out to Rick Starr on the track. I see you, young Prince. Let's go.
Chop it up with Chop, chop it up with Chop, chop it up with Chop, chop it up. Chop it up with Chop, chop it up with Chop, chop it up with Chop, chop it up. Real issue, real problem, real shit that we dealing with. Fuck your whole life up dealing with a city bitch. Life be life, and that's the shit that we dealing with. Get up on the oil and we get into the thick of it. Niggas be tripping when their names ain't mentioned. The product ain't moving, so the niggas start glitching. Friends on the foes in a goddamn minute. Snakes start rattling. Then you hear the hissing. These niggas say telling, but these niggas ain't kissing. Point a head out and they ass get missing. When you see a real chief, better get into submission. Ain't shit made up and a nigga ain't blemished. Chop it up with Chop, chop it up with Chop, chop it up with Chop, chop it up. Chop it up with Chop, chop it up with Chop, chop it up with Chop, chop it up.
Chop it up with Chop. Chop it up with Chop. Chop it up. Chop it up with Chop. Chop it up with Chop. Chop it up. Chop it up with Chop. Chop it up.
Yo, what it is. It's good to be back. We on live right now, baby, yeah. It's good to be back, chopping it up with Chop. I got my girl Janessa, she's back with me. It's good to have you.
Hey everyone.
How you doing tonight? You good?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm all right. I had a long day, but we gonna make it.
Long week.
Long week,
Happy
yeah.
New Year to everybody.
Yes. Happy New Year, 2025. We made it. We made it. If y'all coming in right now, if y'all just starting to check out the live, please love, like, subscribe, chime in on the comment. Definitely get in on the comments tonight. We would love to hear from everyone. We got a good show that's going to be happening right now. We talking about a couple good conversations. What you think, Nessa?
I do. I think we have a lot of great questions. I think everyone has a very well-versed opinion, so I'm excited to hear it.
Yeah, we're going to get into it. We got my big dog back in the house tonight, Mr. Larry. We got to call him Mike Larry. What's up, Larry? How you doing, man?
What's going on, bro?
Glad
to be back, man.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
It's 2025.
Yes. Happy
I'm not going to
New
say
Year.
when I graduated, but it rhymes with 5.
Oh, man, that sounds like it's about some years, because I know you got some years on me, shoot.
Yep.
Okay.
5 is live.
Okay, well, shoot, we're going to get into these conversations tonight, and our second convo, we're getting into the product. If y'all are watching, y'all see the product is up here. Give us a quick rundown before we get into the main conversation, and then we're going to spin back around to you to give us all the details on this product.
All right. Hey, so again, it's Mike Larry, man. This is my product, Slenderez. It's the body balancing drops. Quick synopsis is it help with your cholesterol level, your hormonal level, your cortisol levels. If you don't know what that is, it's like your stress levels. It brings that to normal capacity. Helps with visceral fat, helps with weight loss, helps with inflammation, joint pain. I could keep going, but we only have a limited amount of time. What I will say is, though, this thing is a blessing to anybody that gets a hold of it. If you use it right, it will do you right.
And don't worry, because you got some time. You got some time tonight. You know what I'm saying? You got some minutes to fill us in on all of the different products that y'all offer, the actually employment opportunities that y'all have. You're going to get into a lot of those details later.
Yeah, 100%.
So, Shad, if you ready, we can get that video up there. We talking about some interesting stuff tonight.
Controversial, if you will.
Very, very controversial.
All right, so you want clip 1, clip 2?
We're going with the first one on the stealing the babies. Ain't that what they called it? Stealing babies?
Stealing babies.
Stealing babies. They say,
Let's hear it.
They say women are out here stealing babies. Hide your kids.
Hide your wife.
Hide your wives.
So any woman in that age, she'll steal a baby from you. That's what a lot of these women should really understand. That no man would willingly give you a child if you asked them. That says a lot about these women, that they have to steal babies from men that don't want to have babies with them. Don't that say a lot? And I'll tell you this, right? Women want to have babies because a lot of women have no accomplishments. So how do you justify being a loser in life? You don't have no kids. So the only thing to make me feel better and give me attention is I have a baby.
I'm a single mom.
I did the best I could with a child that I had. Now nobody talks about how I smoked my life. Nobody talks about how I'm growing in a bum. To them, it's like entertainment.
Yeah.
I just want somebody I could dress up cute. And we're not gonna sit here and act like women don't have kids for the financial. They know I'll get free housing.
Yeah.
I'll get cheaper medical.
Yeah.
I'll maybe get some food stamps.
Yep.
I'll maybe get this. What is the thought process of a woman who says, I'm not even with this nigga, but I'm gonna have a child? I live with my mom. I got a job that barely supports me. Let me have a child right now. Because women aren't self-sufficient in life. So therefore, if I couldn't get a man to marry me, if I couldn't get a man to get the baby and get child support, I'll get child support and the government will help me. This is really how they think it in the back of their mind. And they have no shame. And then they want to act like they fucking righteous. You pop pills. You don't give a about Jesus and you want to say, well, I didn't want to kill my babies. Knock it the fuck off. Knock it off. Doing gangbangs and gobbling. You know what I'm saying? Like, knock it off. It sounds good, though.
Listen, that was deep. That was deep right there. I don't know. Turn me up shot. That was real deep right there, man. When I saw it, I'm gonna let you go first, Nessa. I'm gonna let you go first. How did you feel about him? Because you're the only female here tonight, and he's making that statement about females. How do you feel about that?
Of course, we want to make the disclaimer. We're not saying all women are subject to do this, but there are a vast majority. And I do think with the rise of social media over the years, a lot of the population in the 90% is trying to imitate the 10%, not realizing this is a specific lifestyle that comes with wanting to be a mother to a certain type of person, certain type of man. And a lot of times we get caught up in the glitz and glam, not recognizing you are at the end of the day still bound to be a single mother.
True.
So I think that's a lot of times we just get caught up. And I think, Larry, we were talking about it a little bit off camera, so feel free to chime in, but it does go back to the level of exposure that you have. And I would take it a step further in saying, where are the men in these women's lives who have their best interests at heart?
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of that starts at home, right? So at least for me and my kids, my daughter, they see how I treat their mother. They see how I act and how I conduct myself, right? And that translates to what their expectations are of a man. And if a female doesn't have that in their home, then it's hard. You're going to have them susceptible to all the things that he may have explained, right? And that goes back into that circle of people that you're exposing yourself to. If you're at the clubs all the time, then there may be a certain mindset of the females that you reach. If you're talking about like military, something stood out to him when he said health benefits and stuff like that. There is a thing amongst military folks that's active duty that certain females will target soldiers because of the benefits they have. Yeah. So it's not far-fetched to kind of translate that from maybe hood talk to actually military talk. That does happen on a regular, that these females will marry these guys just to get the benefits and get the child support, and that's income for them, right? Because they may come from nothing. So there is certain females that's out there, but that's, like she said to her point, probably 10%. I would go less than that in the bigger scheme of things, but because that's what gets magnified in the internet and social media, this seems like it's a larger number than it really is. So
yeah, I gotta agree with you, and I'm gonna let you get into the first question just briefly. I think that you summed it up what I was gonna say, just that I don't like the delivery and how he said it, but I definitely do think it was a lot of truth there. And as we go through the questions tonight, that I'll let you know how exactly I feel about it. But okay, go ahead, hit us with the first question.
So the first question, I think it's a little bit of a spin-off of what Larry and I are explaining now. And Larry, I want to play a little bit of a devil's advocate because you do have a daughter, as you just mentioned.
Okay.
So when you look through your father lens, and even as a man now, if you were to be dating, right? Do you think, in your observation, that if women had higher standards, higher self-esteem, and practiced better boundaries, that a lot of us would even be born today? And I also want you to think about your mother when you answer this.
You said, would most of us be born today if they had higher standards?
If women did, yes.
I would say yes. The reason why, because we will adapt to whatever environment we're in. When we talked about earlier, the culture, right? If the culture is that there's a higher standard for a man to be at, then guess what? That man is going to step up to that standard. If the standard is low, then there's no need. They're going to go to that level of what is accepted, right? So to your point, if you have a higher level of, expectations of a man, then obviously I'm gonna have to change my game if I want to get in the game.
Right.
So yes, I do believe that if the level was higher, it will probably take, if you're talking about the culture now versus the culture that's going along with your higher standard, then yes, you will have babies made. But if you're starting to set a standard that's higher than what the guys are at, it's going to take a little time before, to your point, that somebody will want to have a baby with them.
So I get what you saying. It's like, if everything is out of reach, if the woman's standard is up here,
right,
and it's out of reach of the man at some point,
right,
then he's gonna have to elevate himself to try to actually reach it. I get it.
And I do think a point that the original creator is trying to touch on is the fact that a lot of times women, for the sake of having a child, or for the sake of having love, or for the sake of having stability, you're really just accepting anything. Because at least minimum, he comes home to me. At minimum, I don't have to pay all of the bills. At minimum, I can at least say I have someone when I'm in public that is my better half, or just simply my other half.
Right. I just seen Sheikah. Sheikah, what it is?
Hi, Sheikah.
How you doing? I see that you say, he's going to lie. What do you mean by that? Like, you mean he's gonna fake? He's gonna fake what he's doing? I want you to elaborate when you get a chance. I do think that was a dope question. I mean, that was it's gonna force us anything, if I have another child or something, and then it's gonna force me to start looking at new houses, right? Because it's gonna be too packed. So it's the same way. If your standards are putting you up there, and like I want you, but I can't reach you, it's gonna make me elevate. I think it's gonna make you elevate. We can get into the second question. What is that? Okay, if the traditional assumed roles of motherhood and fatherhood were reversed, do you think men would still want to be fathers? I can answer that. Any good father knows that, you have a desire to be a father. I to be honest, my first title is husband. I'm one with my wife, but the second best title I wear is being a father. Being a father, and not just to my biological kids, but I have several godchildren, and I have several, so a good man, and I mean a good man, not just a male. And you have a lot of good males out there too, but they're not good men, because men, you desire to be a father. That's my answer. What you feel, Mike?
No, 100%, man. One of the reasons why I felt like I needed to change my life and join the military is because I looked at my life and I said, if I had a child today, would they be proud of me? I saw that on a movie too, and I'm like, this is something that I decided 25 years ago when I joined the military was, how would I want my child viewing me if I was to bring a life into the world? And if that answer was like, I don't know, then that's the wrong answer. Then that means there's some things about yourself you need to get better.
Yeah.
Now, everybody is different. Everybody's upbringing is different in what they view and how they care about what people think. Some people live their life about saying, man, I don't really care what nobody think. I'm just going to be me.
Yeah.
But is you being enough to be an example for your child, or is you being enough for you to not raise the bar, right?
And you gotta respect the honesty. Like we were getting ready, setting up, and I clicked because, like I said, I love to watch podcasts just like I love to do it. But I just seen Stephen A. Smith explain why he's never married, and he was just like, and Sheikah, I see you. I'm gonna read you. Put that up on the screen for me, Shah, so we can come straight to it. He said, I never married because I work 330 days out of the year. And what am I going to give a woman? Like, but I kind of understood what he was saying, though, because that's his standard. So it goes both ways when you're talking about the standard.
And to even take it a step further, when I heard you say the question out loud, it immediately made me think of, okay, well, what about the long nights of a woman is postpartum, let's say she's 3 to 6, maybe even 9 months postpartum, she's losing her sleep, she's still trying to grapple with the idea of motherhood. What about when, let's say, the wife works, but she also has to tend to the children's extracurricular activities. She has to prepare the dinner. If all of those tasks and responsibilities were now placed on a man, do we think that there would be as many children born? And even then, would men still want to step up to the plate of parenthood? Because I feel like there's so many things behind the scenes that women are doing that men never see, and even vice versa.
Yeah. And so I'm gonna throw Sheikah in there. Manipulation plays a big part in that. You can have standards, but manipulation can easily change the landscape of that. I do agree with you, Sheikah. I feel you, and you're gonna chime in on that. Go ahead.
So especially with the manipulation part, a lot of times as women, we can tell ourselves we want one thing, but then if you see or you come into contact with a certain type of man, a lot of times as women, we think we're going to change him, or we think if we go out of our way to prove our worth, then as Ashika's saying, or taking her words, the landscape does begin to change.
Yeah.
You allow someone else to tell you the things that you want, and even if you know better of yourself, you don't necessarily do better.
Yeah, because I think you know, if you're dealing or you're dating somebody, and you keep, let's just say you're a year in, and they still, on the same job, in the same position, you don't really see any growth or initiative. You don't see any of those qualities in them, but they telling you, baby, I love you, I'm gonna give you the world. I love you, I'm gonna give you the world. And you buy into that idea of it because you're doing it because of love. When it comes down, like, that's why, I'm strong about how I feel that parents, you have to plan for children. That's something that, and you also, I'm not saying that you should be stuck with somebody that you had a child with, but when it's planned, then you know what you're asking for. You know what you're getting into. So I know that even though, hey, me and my son's mother are not together, I still have to make life great for him still.
Yes.
I have to be able to co-parent. I have to be able to take on the responsibilities that she can't do or won't do. But like I said, that's real men stuff, But when women are dealing with boys, and that's a different category. And my thing is, why would you want to have a baby with a boy? It's like signing that certificate to say, yeah,
Mama's baby, daddy's maybe.
Right, he gonna play in my life, and I'm gonna let him do it, and then I'm gonna ruin his life. And it's a tit for tat type thing. So, you got the next one. What's that next question? I think you're right at how do men. Yeah.
Okay, so this might be a little bit of a similar question.
Okay.
But how do we believe men and women benefit from having children? And when I ask this question, I want you to think of every major area, which is mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and spiritually. How do we think men and women benefit from parenthood?
What you think about that? I'll let you go first.
That's a loaded one.
Yeah.
I would just say from a male standpoint, because I can't speak for every female is different. But at least for me, how does that resonate spiritually and emotionally, right? I think every good man wants to see his seed grow, right? Something that he produced, something that he nurtured, right, into whether it's a full-grown female or a full-grown male. I know I take pride, and to your point, Chop, like you said, you take pride in being a husband. Yeah. You take pride in being a father. Like, that is ultimate, right? To make sure that your kids understand that you support them in everything that they do, but you're also going to be their hardest critic in everything they do, right? Because if we're too soft on our kids, which most parents are sometimes, they allow their kids to do things that they wasn't allowed to do because they think that that would have made them better, right?
Yeah.
So we constantly are trying to counter how we was raised sometimes, if you felt like it was good or not, to be that parent that you thought is going to be better. Yeah. Right. So, but as far as spiritually and emotionally, and I think it was a couple of categories that you said, like financially, like it is a financial strain these days. Back in the days, it took a village, right? You could drop them off at cousin's house and not worry about nothing. Now you drop them off at cousin's house, you got to worry about if they doing something to your child. Right. So we're living in a different era where, all those categories exist, but some of them are non-existent because we're not going to, that financial stability to manage kids and have a village to raise them is not the same, especially in this type of country now and what we have. So at least for me, for the male's perspective, the emotional part is watching something that you produce is probably the most beautiful thing you could ever watch, right? Especially if they're starting to like adapt your ways and the things that you were teaching them to do that to be right, of the mistakes that you may have made. The financial part, I always wanted to have it when I was young, but God saw fit that I had it in my 30s. So financially, I was in a better position to give a more stable home, right? Versus having it early on in your career where you're trying to establish yourself. So not that there's a perfect timing for having kids, because it's heaven sent, right? God's going to give it to you when he see fit. But if I had to time it, it would be when you're financially stable to be able to support the family. Because the worst thing you want to do is have that child go to school. I remember going and my family probably be mad, but my dad had a beat up car. Back in the day he had a Cadillac, but at some point they had some financial struggles where I was embarrassed to get dropped off in front of the school. I'm like, Dad, can you drop me off at the corner? Because that thing spot. So that was a thing, and that messes with kids' psyche.
It does,
right? Because if they don't feel proud of what they're riding in, right? Because they see all the other kids with nice things and you not having nice things. People will never know that about me because who I am. But that was a time where I was embarrassed to show up in front of school or get dropped off in front of school in a beat up car. So definitely the financial part and emotion part is a good thing.
And Alta, did you want to chime in on that, Shad? I saw you pull up to the mic. I didn't know if you wanted to say something.
Pull up.
Yeah, you can say pull up. I'm always willing to pull up.
I mean, because you're a father too, and you're in it, from a different capacity. And I'll let you speak on that. But like, what do those qualities go with you? Like, how do you look at it?
I always say, or rather, the age-old saying is, that kids are a blessing and a curse. Because they can create a financial strain. But again, to piggyback off of what he said, you got to be financially ready for it. But I definitely agree that they one, teach you patience, because honestly I always say it's funny in business, people always ask me like why I'm always so calm, or like I don't be always getting mad or anything, because in the music industry it's very interesting, and I'm just like, I have kids, so it's like you learn patience, and then patience helps you in a lot of different places and categories. And also it's just lovely to see your kids grow before your eyes, and see them start taking on like you said, things that you've instilled into them.
Okay, I can definitely dig you on that, man. I think I'll make mine real quick too. I agree with what you and Larry both said. It grows you up. It grows you up, and I don't care what age you are when you become a parent, especially a father. I remember when my daughter was born, and I was like, man, I gotta get some more money. So I went up for sergeant, and then sergeant, I wasn't moving too quick of how I wanted to go. I need to go. I started working at the feds. It kept making me want to increase my finances because I know I had people depending on me. And then it's just emotionally is good because I get to see my son do a lot of things that I did not get to do. So I feel the emotion behind that, to see both of my kids and my daughter, even just to see all of them, even my god kids, on down to every last one of them, you get to see them doing some things that you didn't get a chance to do, and it does bring you good emotional feelings. And I think that's mentally, if you're sound, you're gonna always want to make sure even if you have some rocky moments, you're gonna make sure you're sound because you want to be sound for them. All right, so we can get into the next one. Is that one's on me?
Yes.
Okay. How do we think family structures would be built if money weren't an issue? Now, keep in mind, I want you to play that video one more time, Shots, before we get through the what's the name. We good on time. I want you to play. If you're just tuning in, this is the conversation that we're having. Whenever you're ready, you can
run the clip.
Yeah.
So any woman in that age, she'll steal a baby from you. That's what a lot of these women should really understand.
God.
That no man would willingly give you a child if you asked them. That says a lot about these women, that they have to steal babies from men that don't want to have babies with them. Don't that say a lot? And I'll tell you this, right? Women want to have babies because a lot of women have no accomplishments. So how do you justify being a loser in life? You don't have no kids. So the only thing to make me feel better and give me attention is I have a baby.
I'm a single mom.
I did the best I could with a child that I had. Now nobody talks about how I smoked my life. Nobody talks about how I'm growing in a bum. To them, it's like entertainment.
Yeah.
I just want somebody I could dress up cute. And we're not going to sit here and act like women don't have kids for the financial. They know I'll get free housing.
Yeah.
I'll get cheaper medical. Yeah. I'll maybe get some food stamps. Yep. I'll maybe get this. What is the thought process of a woman who says, I'm not even with this nigga, but I'm going to have a child? I live with my mom. I got a job that barely supports me. Let me have a child right now. Because women aren't self-sufficient in life. So therefore, if I couldn't get a man to marry me, if I couldn't get a man to get the baby and get child support, I'll get child support and the government will help me. This is really how they think it in the back of their mind. And they have no shame. And then they want to act like they fucking righteous. You pop pills. You don't give a fuck about Jesus. And you want to say, well, I didn't want to kill my babies. Knock it the fuck off. Knock it off. Doing gangbangs and gobbling. You know what I'm saying? Like, knock it off. It sounds good, though.
He went in. Like I said, I agree with a very percentage. I don't know whether I'm saying. I would say it's
I don't know if you're saying that correct. Do you agree with that?
I agree with it to a certain percentage, not in its full entirety. I do believe that, and I can say that. I said I'll say later what are the parts that I agree on. If you're using, and that could be your belief as far as like whatever reason you choose not to get an abortion, and it's because your belief. But it was funny, but it was true. You're doing all of this shit, and then you telling me that, the only reason that you had to do this when you know you're not financially ready, you know you're not mentally ready, you know you're not even spiritually ready. And you're a lot of times what happens is you put these kids in harm's way. You putting them in harm's way.
You're subconsciously repeating a vicious cycle.
Right. Generational curses. I forget who just told me BSO picked up a 6-year-old was walking on the side of the road, and they picked up the 6-year-old baby and said, take me back to where you live. And she goes back and they find 2 parents there, household filthy. 4 other kids. So she was the 5th kid. All of them living in, and they arrested the parents. And but this is what we find, and I'm not saying people can't fall on hard times. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that in the midst of, if you plan and you prepare, like we getting ready when Larry go into his business details and things that he's doing, I'm sure Larry is just not waking up every day and just going out there like he the frozen cup lady and trying to get sales. Like, no, like he has a strategic plan, an idea, and he's putting that together. That's the same thing with kids. Like, I just feel like our generation don't take that serious enough. They don't take that seriously. They just feel like, oh, yeah, I'm pregnant again. Oh, well, this one might make it, maybe won't. Or...
And 2 things with that for me, it makes me question, or rather playing devil's advocate, it really irritates me when women do take this route. Let's just play on the original creator's logic. Let's just say there are women who are having children for the sake of the benefits, it pisses me off and it irritates me when these women realize their decision making too late. You've gone down the wrong path and you have these children. Then you have the nerve to sit up here and say, oh, nobody does anything for my kids but me. Lady, nobody was sleeping with that dude but you. So it is your responsibility.
Yeah. It's a harsh reality.
And that brings me to the second thing. Remember how you said you like listening to podcasts? So I believe his name is Pastor Poppy Don, if I'm saying it correctly. Poppy the Don, Pastor Poppy Don.
I think I've heard of him.
He had a podcast episode, and he suggested to the crowd, well, if women can decide that they don't want to get an abortion, can men decide that they don't want to be fathers? How do you all feel about that?
Yeah, I asked that question. And I think Nick's, I'm going to get Nick's in too. Nick said it takes two people to have a baby. I hope you're feeling better. Why are you having kids with someone you don't want to have kids with? That's for the men.
Talk about it.
And that's what and that's ultimately what the whole conversation is about. It's on both parts. You know, I think and we discussed this before, the men, it's not really our decision. And I agree, because I have to look at it in a split view, because I believe that no man should tell a woman to do with her body, because I'll be damned if you tell me what to do with my body. You know, for me, it's my body. So I understand that, but with respect to, like, have respect for your body as well. You know, the main question that y'all say to that, oh, well, why you lay down with her? Why you ain't use protection? Or why you ain't do that? If we be honest about this all the freaking time, like, you know how these things happen. We can name various. We done been around the block on this. The condom or the contraceptive is not working, or whatever the case may be, and a baby is there or is happening. The thing is, and the question why it was spent to women, why would you want to have a baby with a bum? Why would you I just don't understand. Like, I wouldn't even want to be in a relationship with a bum woman. Like, a woman that's not doing nothing with herself, or a woman that I didn't feel was or had the capacity or capable of being a good mother. I wouldn't want to be in that situation.
But going back to Jay's point earlier, you know, if women had a higher expectation of men, would there be babies made?
Right.
If you have a
high, to reach you.
Right. So
in more recent generations, I think no.
Right. So to his point, you're a grown man, and you went through some things that have taught you that, you know, there's a standard that you want. There's a standard that you look for. But a lot of these young men don't have that, right? They may be on the streets raising themselves, or they may have a single parent home where there's a father or a mother who is always at work. So who's really raising them? The internet is raising them, right? And so to that social media podcast, it's hard for me to digest it and break it down the way you guys broke it down, is because I need to know what originated that statement. And I don't know that, because you can see it's just cutting pieces of like snippets, and that's hard for me to digest. If I just take it for the snippets, I'm like, this guy's ignorant. He has no clue what he's talking about. But if I see the totality of what the conversation was about, or how that even came about that discussion, then it'll make more sense. But to what he was talking about, it just...
And he's saying it in such a defensive way that it's hard whenever you being defensive in that way, or it's hard to receive it. You got something right quick? I'm gonna read Nick's 2 comments, and then you can go right into it. Men have the first say when it comes to having kids. Women have the last say. I do agree with that to a certain extent. But like I say all the time, you know what I'm gonna say. Walmart controls the time it opens and closes, and Walmart decides who it lets in Walmart. And if Walmart don't want to serve nobody, they cannot come into Walmart.
Oh, Nix, I wish you were here in person, because I know you hit him up.
I mean,
I just know you would hit him up.
I don't know, man. That's hard, because Walmart could be open. That don't mean that you got to buy what's in the store.
Exactly.
That's true.
So the moment you go to the cash register and you insert your cash, you put that card in, you know that you done bought what you got, right? So you ain't got
And
to
ladies,
buy it.
depending on how you present yourself, don't be upset when a man walks into your Walmart looking to buy what you've been advertising, and then now you want to act brand new. No, you knew what you was doing before, during, and after. So
The thirst
True.
trap.
It's a double-edged sword.
What's up, Vincent? Nick said people rob
If you were
Walmart too.
Walmart.
He said what?
People rob Walmart too.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. You it should go out
That's
before we
you.
miss your point.
that's you.
Oh, this on me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Let me get to it. My bad.
No, you're
Nick's
fine.
got me on that, man. People rob Walmart too.
Those people in jail, by the way, or they in pursuit.
Okay, so we asked that one if money wasn't an issue. Did we ask that one yet? No, we didn't. We
No,
went
we
straight to the
didn't.
video. Okay, how do we think family structures would be built if money weren't an issue? So if you knew, and I think this is a strong point right here, because if you knew Tyrone was broke, shame on you for letting Tyrone seed in you. Shame. Shame.
But I love them.
But Tyrone had the best. We coming up with that later. Tyrone
Hey,
had
but-
the best I ever had.
But hold on. The lady said it early on. She said men are going to lie and manipulation. If he's leading you to believe that he has some dream or some goal that he's trying to reach, and you buy into that, is that really all her fault in believing in her man? It can be. I mean, that rule of fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, now it's on me. Right? So after that second time, if he fool you once, you like, I'm going to support him in everything he does. But then you realize he ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Then it's
gotta
a
come up with
shared
the
it's a
exit
shared
plan.
responsibility of the ignorance of not knowing.
You got 2 years. I think you should have and if you're smart enough, you don't even have to make it in 2 years.
Yes.
You got 2 years to know if somebody is good for your life.
Don't
'Cause
laugh.
Now I'm laughing at Nick's because she over here.
Yeah, Nick's going in. She telling me somehow Russell got Sierra keep her pregnant. But guess what? If Russell won
Russell got that bread.
Right. If Russell won Russell.
No.
You know what I mean? Free millions he
she'll do
got
it Bow Wow or
from
something.
Denver alone. Russell got that bread. So Russell ain't got. I wish Sierra would tell Russell he can't have none. She ain't doing that
But
because
hey,
Sierra is Sierra. Sierra can
So?
politely and respectfully decline.
So you
And I
think-
bet you tomorrow they'll be just fine.
you
she
think
decline what?
But she wear the pants anyway though. Sierra with Russell. She's saying that because Sierra's her own woman. So
No, she is. She got her own money,
She is,
but
she is.
she not having no baby from no broke man.
she not having no.
Of course
she
not. That would be
having-
almost impossible for her.
But,
Right.
but to his point though, she's smart enough to know that I'm
discernment.
mating with somebody of similar or
Evenly
similar
yoked.
Right.
circumstances and status, that my child will be all right. If something happened to me, I know my child is going to be good.
Because I can see Sierra getting back out there putting on concerts right now if Russell fell off in a way, which I don't think. I think that'd be hard as hell. For
And
him
he
to
has
do.
insurance. Those NFL players, they go get paid once if they get hurt.
Nick say, how many of y'all on the cast was
Oh, here we
raised
go.
broke and turned out okay?
Well,
Well, like we talked about before, Nick's like, though you have a head start. So if you automatically, and you know this, if I'm already behind the gun has already been fired, and you've been given meters of a head start ahead of me, you're gonna hit the road quick.
Define broke though. Define broke. Broke is living paycheck to paycheck, or like
just-
you ain't got nothing. Like
Cause you got some people that don't have nothing.
that's what Sierra thought about Future.
She lift up her standards, like what you were saying earlier. She pulled up her standards. Was like, okay, maybe my fruit is hanging too low. I need to put it up for somebody to reach it that has the capacity to reach it. So that's probably why, you know what I'm saying, she wasn't on that Future stuff. And granted, I know they can be annoying, her and Russell, but I do think that like that's dope. That's what you want to promote. That's what
Yes.
you want to build. You want to build family making the right way. You know what I'm saying? Because and I'm sorry, I don't want to get these statistics because I hope it's not right. But probably only one of those kids gonna not be nothing. Out of all of them. Now, what they have to put together, because we see it happen all the time, but you always have that one that gets spoiled. And then you have those other ones that follow the traditional,
blueprint.
the blueprint of the mother and the father, and do those things. That's the same way. You don't see Jay-Z on the sideline without Blue or one of his kids. So, I think that's a part of it. The second part with the finances part that I wanted to point out, and then you can follow up. If a man, if you control a woman's finances and you make her feel like all she has to do is depend on you and your finances, you're doing it, number one, out of control. Number two, you're the problem. You're the problem. So what? I'll get pregnant 57 times if I can. If I know you're gonna be that and do this or and just be, and you may not be doing anything worth parenting, but just because you got the finances.
And this is exactly why I
I'm
asked.
not letting you get pregnant 57 times. I'm getting snipped. Sorry.
Whoa, if you cared.
I'm getting snipped.
But this
Sorry.
is what caused me to ask the question of how do we think men and women benefit? Because in this particular circumstance, if a woman's not working, she's solely depending on a man, and a man is expecting her to make her entire life about this man and his seed that they both did co-create. At what point do we allow the woman the autonomy to, I don't want to say rebuild herself, but step into this newfound identity that she has? Because once you're a mother and you care, it's not going anywhere. You have to learn how to balance it.
Okay.
So how do you really see a woman benefiting in that specific circumstance?
And that's under the, like, if she feel like she can't be who she is.
Yes.
Because she's been pushed into this. So
Yes.
back in the day when, watching entertainment growing up, women, and I got y'all, Vincent, I see you, Nix, I got you. I'm gonna read y'all questions off after I make this statement. You would see entertainers, like especially women entertainers, they wouldn't get pregnant. They wouldn't get, and then they used to put this in the contract that you could not get pregnant or become pregnant before a certain amount of albums were made or a certain amount of contracts were obligated. They will put those in the contract for women, which
Meaning the record labels.
the record labels,
Okay.
yes. And so they will control them. And I think that it finally, like, some women just started to open up. I believe Sierra was one of the first, not the first, but she was one of them, just like Beyonce, and just made it, they showed that you could still be great in Beyonce and still have babies. And get right back on there, still nurture your family, still do for your family, because reprocreation is what we here for. If we don't do it, then, we're obsolete. I mean, Larry, you want to get something real quick before I go read these off?
No, I was looking at the comment about the cast graduated from high school and valedictorian was an immigrant. I mean, I wasn't an immigrant. I did graduate high school. I'm trying to figure out the content and what the take home is from that comment.
Okay. How many people?
And maybe she could elaborate on that. But
okay, next, let me see. I ain't read it all the way out. How many people on the cast graduate high school and the valedictorian was immigrants or ain't had nothing? And how many kids Jay-Z got that he don't take care of? Blue and them twins are 3 of how many? But Nix, I think that's broad. You can't say that because we don't know their relationship, that he has with his kids. I mean, I'm sure it's a little different, just like their mom relationship is different. But from what I know, and based off what I've read, that they take them pretty much, they're homeschooled and they take them with them everywhere that they go, as far as, like, business wise. So right. I don't think we can say that now. As far as that top part of how many people on the cast graduate high school and the valedictorian was an immigrant. Yeah, I have seen that. I even seen it. My cousin wasn't an immigrant, but we were poor, and all 3 of them were smart as hell. Top 10% of their class. One was a valedictorian. So I do think that can happen, but I think the idea of it happening, why would you want that to happen? That's just like, it's like if I break down right here and I push my car from right here to the end of the block. I did it. I pushed my car. It took me about 30, 40 minutes. But if I planned ahead and said, let me call Mark, or let me call one of my other bros, I plan, and they come and they help me, and that car is down the street in 10 minutes and not 40. it's always easier when you have planned ahead. So I'm not saying that immigrants or people that are born into lower income homes cannot do great things, because we see that they can, they will. But guess what? They have to work 10 times as hard to do that. And you know why not give them that head start? That's the only thing I'm saying. And I give you saying I'm just saying money is not always a major factor. Morals are, yes.
Yeah,
of course.
Definitely.
Of course. You know,
Paycheck to paycheck.
right. But it's just, but you cannot effectively raise a family without finances in place. And I'm not saying that as a single man. I'm saying that as a married man that, like, you know what I'm saying, hold my household together.
So because of what you just said, finances play a big role. Is that your way of answering the question, how would we build family structure if finances weren't an issue? Do you think it's impossible?
I think it's almost impossible if you don't have the necessities of what you need, because you cannot, like Prince just said, when you living paycheck to paycheck, it's hard to have an actual family dynamic. That means you're not going on these said vacations. That means that your kids are not participating in extracurricular activities like football or things like that, unless they have somebody that's actually donating for them to do it.
Yeah, but you got to, again, is putting that in a box in the city environment, right? You go into the rural where people are farming their own lands, growing their own food, you know what I mean? Having their own cattle in their stock to be able to feed off on. Is money really an issue? As long as they have stock and they could grow their own food?
Barter
No,
and
it's not.
trade.
So that family structure is different. So, you know,
That's still
not
has
to
value,
take
though.
away from what you're saying. You're absolutely right. In the city life, you damn sure better have a good job. Damn sure better have a consistent check coming in, because those kids are going to eat you out of house and home. Grocery prices are going up. So if your finances are not in place, that family structure is hard to keep together because people are struggling. Now, would it build callous to them on what not to do? Hell yeah. So in an indirect way, yes, it does build a family structure as long as the person that's leading doesn't allow that obstacle to overcome them.
Yeah.
Right. So.
And we can. Oh, you can go ahead. My bad.
I was going to get into the last question. I thought it was a great segue, but if there's something else you want to touch on, we can.
We read those last questions there, and then okay, Renee. Shout out to Renee.
What's up, Renee?
Nay.
Right.
That's the self-defense lady. She got her own business. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She actually sold me my concealed holster. So
Okay.
big out to Renee.
I need to talk to Renee. How you doing?
She got a lot of little goodies for y'all, man.
Okay.
So maybe
Well,
one day we invite her on.
Right. That'll be dope.
Yeah.
And the last comment up there, Vincent said, "Money is everything in a place
No,
where."
go before that though.
Nick's.
Bold statement. No, Vincent says women don't want a man that's smarter than them. Vincent, why do you think that's the case?
Oh. Yeah. Give him a little time. Hey, thanks for that. Sure.
To kind of maybe somewhat answer that question, because sometimes it could be about control. You know, it's like I would definitely kind of, in a sense, can say at this point you blame society, because you know I've sat and watched some of the stuff my kids watch, or some of the stuff that I see is getting put out there on like social media, the different platforms, and it's like society is telling you like, yeah, you have to live your life this way, you know.
Right.
You don't have a man at home, you know, you could be outside, you could be this bad bitch and X, Y, and Z, and then it's like, no, that's not reality, that's not life.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't work, you know.
Yeah, just like in this, and I know because I talked, I have a bunch of single female friends, and I have a bunch of single male friends, and it's like all of them looking at each other like, like, and sometimes I'm, because I'm always doing stuff. I always have people together doing this or doing that, and they'll look at each other, both be single, ain't nothing wrong with either one of them. Good people, but it's just that, like Shah said, the way social media has painted everything, women don't even respect men. in the capacity. Now I know we lost a lot of that respect.
Hey, boy,
Hey.
that's a sensitive topic right there.
Man, listen, I see it.
That's a sensitive topic.
I see it every day. You don't, and that's the same time, because I realize that every problem is caused by something. So
For every action, there's a reaction.
right. So I do believe that played a cause in it, but you're in an era now where women don't physically respect men, mentally respect men. So the most they'll respect what the preachers say. They'll spiritually respect them, in some capacity. But like just regular, just having respect for a man. Blessings, King. How you doing, King? You all right? Whatever. And women, men the same way. Yeah, I agree, Vincent. I see it often. But I also see like women take a more direct role. And that's a conversation for another day that I really would let her have, because I want to talk about feminists and male chauvinists. I would love to have a conversation about that. So we gonna say, for those of y'all that's still on watching stuff right now, yeah, definitely have her put it up there. Put your information up there so people can reach you, and I'd love to have you on. It'll be dope.
She's cool, man. She's got a level head, got her own business, entrepreneur type lady. Met her at one of the events as a vendor, but definitely she could add some to the platform, man. So
okay,
big out to Renee.
That's what's up. Now we finna get into your thing. Go, y'all know he is Mr. Mike Larry.
For that?
Yeah.
This thing was getting deep, man. I was
He's like, I
know we trying to cut the time short,
Managing the time.
but this
I
was
a conversation.
I like the flow of it, because it was less interruptions and more of an adult type talk, and I think people need to be able to hear us clearly and not be yelling and screaming at each other to try to make our point valid. You know what I mean? So big up to you for having me again.
Yeah, of course.
Big up to Jay. She's doing a phenomenal job. So I think this is a good platform to kind of discuss these things that are plaguing our communities, man, to be honest with you.
Right. That's why we doing it, man. That's what it is. Sometimes people just love to hear nonsense. They love to hear fighting and drama and all of that stuff, man.
Mm-hmm. It won't even take the time to make sense out of the nonsense.
Right. It's so much fun you can have.
It's because it's entertaining and it's engaging. It sells.
And that's why you got to pick your lane and stay in it. And that's my lane. That's where I feel like I'm at. Thank you, Miss Renee, for putting your information up there. I'll be giving you a call as well, touch bases. So
we could definitely send you a virtual, invite as well.
Also, this is another thing that's plaguing our community. It's plaguing me right now. I'm overweight again. So it's plaguing me. And you're like a big brother to me, always have been. And you were telling me about this product, and I was on a team call with you earlier, because it also has employment benefits where you can actually become a salesman, a sponsor of the product.
Yep.
And I want you to just get into it a little bit. I really want to push this. This is what a lot of us don't do, and I do it just out of love for me. I want to get the information out there, just like you want to give the information, and I want it to be out there. So I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, 100%, man. I appreciate you having me on again. Me and Chop go way back to
8 years old.
1999?
No, it was earlier than that, like 96.
Oh, 97.
Yeah, 97.
97. Okay. Yeah. So, this is a big thing for me. And people that know me know I've been a soldier, for the past 25 years. I've been a first responder for the past 20 years. But if you go even beyond me being a firefighter, I was a lifeguard since I was 15. Started off in Overtown working as a lifeguard, not really knowing life itself, but my mom pushed me to not be one-dimensional, but multi-dimensional, right? And have a lot of different trades that eventually it will pay off in the future. So that being said, I've always been a community servant, right? So, or for the country for that matter as well. So this is just one addition to my resume, which is something that I never, and I think we talked about it earlier, this is something that I didn't think that I would be doing, right? Selling drops, right? But I do call myself a neighborhood drop dealer. I even had a shirt made, right? Because I think it's catchy. But what I do like about this product is that it makes people healthy, right? It made me healthy. When the time in my life where I had just came off a deployment, I had done multiple deployments and been in multiple countries, where I never really had time to take my health seriously. You know, Uncle Sam inject us with all type of different
GMOs and
a lot of stuff. And I got probably like 8 or 9 different anthrax type of shots. I got smallpox shot. I got, you name it, I probably had it injected in me. And I'm like, man, I don't really know what this thing is doing to my system. You know what I mean? But over time, you won't see the effects until sometimes later on, because you just don't know. You just getting a shot so you can go on those deployments.
Yeah.
So that said, so let's step into. Go ahead. You had a question?
Yeah, I want. So how do you I know you kind of told me a little bit. It has a bunch of vitamins that's combined, and it's in a liquid form. How do you take it? What, once a day, twice? Give us a breakdown
Right.
of how
So
you do that.
so what I like about this, and I even brought my own box because I take it daily now. I'm a firm believer, you can't sell something if you never tried it.
Right.
Right. And some people do sell things that they never tried, and some people sell cars they never drove.
Yeah.
But this is a car that I've driven. This is a car that I know that works, right? And I've seen it work for multiple different people. Now, depending on the type of driver, that car may not perform to the level that you want it to if you're not driving it correctly, right? So if you're a driver, you know how to drive a car, and you're treating it nice, that car is going to treat you right, right? So that said, this beautiful yellow and white box comes with 2 bottles, right? And one bottle you take 3 times a day, and the other bottle you take twice a day. And it's very easy. And what I like about it is that it's not in the pill form, right? Pills, you have to swallow, and it's like some people, I hate swallowing shit that like either get stuck in your throat. If it's in a capsule form, you like, this is very easy. It's underneath the tongue. You hold it up for 10 to 20 seconds and you swallow, right? First bottle you take 10 minutes prior to eating or drinking. The second one you take 10 minutes after that, right? So for breakfast and lunch, you're taking 2 of these. And the first bottle is the only bottle that you take 3 times a day, which is, depending on when you go to bed, if you want to take it before going to bed or before you eat dinner, you take that 3rd bottle. And what I will say for me, and I have to throw the disclaimer out, for me, it only took me 10 days or 8 days to lose 10 pounds, right? For other people who health is not where mine was, because you gotta understand, I've been in the military and I'm a SWAT medic and have whatever, right? So my body was a little bit more receptive to it a lot quicker. Some people have a lot of stuff in their system they need to flush out. You had a question?
Yes, so I hear you speaking about the times that you're taking it and the difference in people's health.
Okay.
Specifically, I'd be curious in knowing, does this have any positive or negative effect on someone's metabolism, or does metabolism play a role at all?
Good question. So bottle number 2 is specifically for the metabolism, right? Bottle 1 has a lot of different, it has 11 different ingredients, and at some point I'll post that for people to see. But bottle 1 helps with your cortisol levels. It helps bring that down to a level to where now those toxins that comes from high adrenal levels attacks your cells, right? It causes your digestive system to kind of act a little out of whack, which your insulin, and I know I may be speaking some medical terms, and for the ones that understand, thank you. It doesn't allow it to digest and use it as energy. So what happens is stores it as fat. So the older we get, we start getting those beer guts. It's not because I'm drinking beer. It's because my body isn't digesting the food. It's not using it as it's supposed to do as energy or nutrients for your body. What this does is help regulate that and get your body back to where it used to be. The second bottle is, as I was explaining with the metabolism, it helps speed up your metabolism. It has an ingredient called methylcobalamin, which is a specific type of B12. So the B12, and to my ignorance, I was at Southcom, not gonna lie, put that disclaimer, at Southcom, and there was a soldier there that was like, oh, you have methylcobalamin in there. And I was like, yeah, B12, because I saw it listed next to B12. She's like, no, that's like the expensive B12. The regular ones, they give you the cyanocobalamin. And I was like, really? she made me think. So I went home and I pulled the B12 that I used to take sublingual, and I looked at it and I was like, holy crap, it does says cyanocobalamin, which is something that when you take it, your body will convert that into methylcobalamin, which this already has in it as a natural substance for your body to use instantly as energy. So for me, that got like another
right.
check in my box, because they pride themselves on being organic, plant-based, and homeopathic, which helps your body balance out those hormonal levels that you're experiencing throughout the day. So the biggest question that most people ask is this only for fat people? Is this only for, you know, people that's unhealthy? No, it's for everybody, because it can help with joint pain. If you're having problem focusing, bottle 1 helps with your focus at work. I know I sometimes go on warrants at like 3 a.m. in the morning, and I have to be switched on. I have to be ready to go. So what I do is I get my bottle. I'm like, I do my drop, and I do my second drop en route, because sometimes it's a 30-minute drive, because I go from Florida City to county line. I could be anywhere in Dade County at any point in time, but that gets me, like, you know how you wake up all foggy? It clears that out, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Who we going after? What's the deal, right? So that to me is paramount for me, for a guy like me.
And when you got here, I seen you were drinking an energy drink. So you were telling me that all of those products, you have multiple like products that you.
Yes. So what I was drinking earlier, I don't even know what I do with the can.
You probably tossed it.
It's called Blue Frog, and if you go to my Facebook page, I can send you all the information.
And we're gonna put it up here too. We're gonna put there.
Mike Larry. And I already have a business card, and I need to also send that to you, so guys could go to my business card, and then they'll be able to search and look at all the testimonials, the videos of all the different products that we have, and even go to the website for that matter. But to your point about the Blue Frog helps with focus. It helps with natural energy, natural caffeine. It doesn't have the artificial caffeine in it, right? And so they even did a comparison with that against Red Bull, I think it was Monster and something like that, and it still has more ingredients and less side effects as far as the jitters. And everybody know about ashwagandha, which it has in it to help keep that regulated, so you're not feeling that crash after taking it, right? So a lot of good products with the company. The main thing that gets people right is this, the Slender Res. The Slender Res is excuse my language, the shit, right? It is the shit, bro. I can't speak enough about it.
We're gonna, because I know we got a picture, and we want to show some of the benefits that come from it. And just like real quick before we get into those benefits, you can actually become a salesperson with this product and with this company.
Right.
So can you briefly give us a little bit about that?
Yes. So for me, and shout out to Travis Smith, he's the one that kind of got me into it. He was on the show about the first time I came on. I told him, if I lose weight, in which I was at 250, I'm down to 231, so I've lost about 19 pounds. I'm good with that weight. But he basically said, like, listen, coach, if you like it and you think that this is something that people could benefit from, there is a business side to it. And to the point that I said earlier, I never saw myself selling drops. I'm a trained killer, right? I've been to sniper school. I've been to all type of schools with the military. So that wasn't my MO, was to sell drops, not even the closest. But what I will say is there is a business side to it, because I want to go into owning my own business, which I do own my own business, which is called Orange Sand. And I was going to get into government contracting. But when he introduced this to me, this was a newfound love. And the business side of it is that you don't have to just take it. You could sell it as well and make your own commission off of it. So I tell people, and even like with you, Chop, I already told you, hey, you buy it from me, but the second time you buy it from yourself. Invest in yourself. Older people used to tell me all the time, invest in yourself. I never really knew what that meant until I got introduced to these drops and had an opportunity to own my own part of that company, to sell it as I see please, right? I made my own brand, neighborhood drop dealer, right? So for me, it's getting catchy. People were hitting me up in the inbox like, hey man, what's up with those drops? And I'll send the information that they need, because that company they make it so easy for you to advertise this, your own testimonials, your own Q&A. If you don't know how to answer the question, they give you the answers to those questions as you're learning it. This is like OJT to its fullest, but it's so easy to do. This is just a part-time gig, man. I do most of my deals by my phone, right? And I've sold probably 150 boxes within a 3-month time period.
Right.
And what does that equate to? This box runs for 176 on the regular website if you just go to Partner Co. But I sell it for 150, right? Because I'm a brand partner, so I could get it for a cheaper rate. The more I buy it, the cheaper I could buy it. But I sell it for 150. So if you figure I sold 100 boxes, let's just do the math. 150 a box, that's 15K, right?
Right.
You know, that's the gross. That's not the profit. The profit was probably about 8 to 7. So you do the math. I'm not going to throw the numbers up there because it's not for everybody.
Yeah.
But what I will say, this is a easy side business to have,
Right.
or
Just
additional
like
income that I wasn't even expecting. I didn't need this money, but it's fun to do, and it's helping a lot
It's
of people.
helpful.
So
Definitely.
and then it definitely is going to help you when you get your box. And then
Yeah. I said I'm finna start right now. I'm tapping in, man. I gotta tap out. I think they. Right.
Hey, we're gonna have to stand you up and do like a
right.
I'm not saying a criminal picture, but like a side pose,
A side by side.
right?
Yeah.
Because hey, y'all look at Chop now, look at him.
Yeah.
A month from now, you gonna be a different man. Neck go be skinnier, face will probably be a little bit
I don't
thinner.
want my neck to get skinnier because this thing already like a needle neck. Hey, so Nick said stand them boxes up so people can see them.
Yes.
And we want to zoom in on them. And if you got
I don't know if you can see it. Let me get this one.
Yeah,
And I
you
know
can
we'll
walk
probably
into the
add the
camera, too.
information in like
Yeah.
a description or something like that. But if you can just briefly tell us verbally where we can find your products, any pages that you have.
I'm going to, you know what? This is what I'll do. I'll share my business card on this Facebook Live. Let me pull it up right quick.
Okay.
And then that way you guys can have, there it is.
Yeah,
Share my
whatever
info.
information you have.
Link it
just
all. It's the new
Yeah.
year, new us. If you
Right,
have your resolution,
right.
get started early.
And if you watching, holla at me, man. I love promoting my people. I don't be charging nobody, and I know at some point I may have to because it's coming in my pocket. But I just want to show love. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? I
There
just
it
like
is.
showing love and getting our businesses out there, and getting our community to grow because that's what's gonna help us in the long run.
I just posted my business card on
Okay.
there. And also, before I forget, every first of the month I'm gonna have a deal, right?
Oh,
Which
right.
is I have a deal with Crunch Fitness, and if anybody doesn't know, Crunch Fitness is probably the fastest growing fitness center in the world, not just in the U.S. but in the world. And I just had this epitome and this thought that, damn, let me go see if I could advertise it there. So right now, what I'm advertising is that if you buy a box, if you're the first one to buy it that month, I will go ahead and pay for your first 30 days of fitness at Crunch Fitness. Meaning
better
I
go
will
get
add you
them
to my
boxes.
list, right? So that means,
That's a
and
good
just
deal,
think about
man.
it, right?
That's
Crunch
good.
Fitness is just not in Florida; it's in everywhere in the U.S. So
Yeah.
when I give you that code, or I give
can
you
use it
put you on that
anywhere.
list, you could use that anywhere for the 30 days, and I'll allow you to do that just because I believe. I already know this is going to work without Crunch Fitness, but if you feel like you don't have a gym membership or something like that, I'm going to go ahead and give you that for 30 days just to plus up and
I'm taking
and
you.
put
I'm not-
towards your fitness.
Yeah,
right?
I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
That's my vow and that's my promise to you. And it's been great, man. My run times is getting ridiculous. I'm getting
Right.
back to where I used to. I ran a 7:30 mile. I'm 231 pounds. I'm 47. I ain't supposed to be running that fast at this age and this weight,
Yeah.
right? But I could do it because it got me back to who I used to be.
That's what's up.
And they'll help you get there too if you do it right.
That's what's up. Renee said you are blessing people. One of your soldiers chimed in up there. He said, "Yeah, I'm one of his soldiers." Is that? I don't know if I'm. Am I saying the name right? Capori?
He said you're right. Yeah, it's I know who he is.
Okay.
Hey, that's my little ninja. That dude knows all type of martial arts.
Okay.
He does self-defense, so he has his creative name, but definitely he came to my house and helped my kids practice some fighting maneuvers and stuff like that. So he's big into the martial arts, into jiu-jitsu and all that stuff like that. So I may even seen him up with Renee with her self-defense thing. So again, it's all about networking, man, and helping people out, man.
Networking.
Even if it doesn't fall in the realm of this.
Do we have some of his clips? Do we have some of Larry's clips that we can play, and his information? We want to put that up there at the end. If y'all are chiming in now, if y'all just coming into the live, or let y'all other people know, because I'm gonna highlight again, we about to get into our third topic, and this is we ain't gonna be long, but it's gonna be strong.
That's right. Until I get that rubber on.
No pun intended. But
I don't know if that was gonna come out right, because I went straight to Luke until I get that rubber on.
Right. I don't. As soon as we finish this segment, we're gonna get right into that conversation. So if y'all watching, get ready for it. It's gonna be interesting. You could go ahead, Shad.
What?
Play Larry's stuff, his stuff, the stuff that he sent you or sent to the computer.
I never made the video for it. I didn't get a
Okay, we'll spin it back. We'll spin it back at the end.
Yeah, if you got the old one, you can play that one too into the.
Yeah. And if not, we'll play the new one to the end to make sure. But Larry, make sure you remind me. You know how it be.
Oh yeah, I got you, bro.
Yeah, make sure you remind me. So we gonna go straight into this conversation. Wait, you got that video ready, right? You got it ready, Shad? You could play it. And we good on timing too, right? Right. Perfect timing.
Yeah, we actually doing pretty
I
decent,
told
man.
We
We
managing that time tonight,
doing
man.
good, man.
Great job, Chop.
I'm trying.
Doing good, man.
I am trying.
I know that's right. So I'm gonna get this word out and get you out of here.
Right. So until we get the video, okay.
Lights, camera.
Oh, that's Larry's on.
Yeah, I hear it, but I don't see it.
Yeah. Just go ahead and run that other one. Run the other one, and we're gonna bring it back once you get it set up right.
clip 2?
Yeah, clip 2. All right. So this second video is I don't even know how to title it. I'm gonna let it speak for itself.
Please do.
Right. I don't even know how to title it.
I feel like a guy with a small joint, you gotta understand that like your dick ain't getting no bigger, and like she gotta take whatever you got in stock, like my boy Boogie said. And you know what I'm saying? And you gotta be confident with your shit.
It's not the easiest for a guy that's trying to explore, doesn't have the Superman package, doesn't have boyfriend dick.
Your bag is going to be all of the shit that has nothing to do with your dick. You don't need that much to hit the G-spot, to get the clitoris, you know, like to stimulate the clitoris. I personally feel like if you a size queen, you haven't actually explored yourself. You just think that I have to have this size because I don't know enough about my own body to know that I can get there with other sizes.
But I was a chick that I was dating, and she was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I only had orgasms with one nigga. The best sex I've had in my life. It was the smallest I've ever had seen in my life. And she was like, and I was like, I'll fall out. And she was like, man, we got into an argument one day, and I told him that's why I had a little dick. I'm like, so you teased this nigga about having a small dick, and it was the best dick you ever had in your life?
And he would never believe that.
Like, that's crazy.
I'm gonna come straight to you, Janessa. I mean, did you agree with any of that in that, you know?
Listen, God gave us each a toolbox. Now, what you do with that toolbox that God has given you is up to you. And
Okay.
if you don't know how to use your tools, then you shouldn't be signing up for jobs to complete them.
Yeah. I mean,
Close the book.
right. That's pretty much it.
Thank you.
Now, but do you believe that if someone has better tools, that they're more likely to get the job than someone with, you know, maybe somebody is using a lower brand tool? Do you think that can still get the job done?
It's the user.
Look at your toolbox.
There you go.
What do you have? Is it a flathead? Is it what's the other one? A Phillips? What is it? What do you have, and how can you use it? Sometimes just because you have all the tools in the toolbox doesn't necessarily mean you know how to use them.
Right.
Doesn't mean you're capable of using them, and does not mean that you should be using them.
Yee. That was deep right there. What you think, Larry?
Man, I ain't got nothing to say to back that up, man. That's she put the nail in the coffin. You got to know. I said I'll put it in the military terms, right? I give you the most mass casualty producing weapon on the battlefield, but if you don't know how to use it, it ain't gonna work for you, right? Yeah. So to our point, man, you got to know whatever tool you have in the box, you make the best of that tool in that box. And some people that are not the prettiest or not the handsomest, right? They know how to use other benefits and other tools of their body to enhance their marketing table, right? So to our point, man, I think she hit the nail on the head.
When they said focus on your own tools.
And that brings me into the first question that I have, or subtopic with this video. How would you all say, from a man's perspective, we should be approaching how to have the healthy conversations about sex? Because maybe a man can be insecure and he's willing to learn, but maybe he just needs that comfortability.
Openness. I think I can, like, and I'm, I don't want to go into my personal stuff, but I think when you do have conversations with people, even as a young man, younger, I would ask a female that I was with, hey, did you enjoy it? And I'm like, yo, keep it real with me. For me, it's just it's conversation, and it's healthy conversation, because I'd rather a person just say, hey, that it's not my cup of tea. And everybody has different reasons why something is not their cup of tea. You know what I'm saying? But if you don't know that, you could have been like, this girl could have told you you was top dog, you the best man she's ever met, you're an amazing person, your finances are okay or good, you know what I'm saying, you in the church, you don't got no kids, you doing good, and then next thing you know, she start ghosting you.
It's not you, it's me.
Right. So, because I've seen this happen.
It's all about the other person, though, man. Sometimes the other person bring the best out of you. It's the approach, because there's some people that you just, chemistry-wise, you're not.
It flows.
It's not there, right?
Or it doesn't, right?
So some other people could really bring out the champion in you, right?
They can bring out that freak in you.
It's all about the approach, man. You got to have good chemistry with that person for it to be what it's supposed to be. If you're not on the same wavelength, then it's just going to be mediocre.
That kind of brings me into the next question, but Chop, if you want to touch on that before we get there, feel free.
So, but how do this, if me and you are dating, and let's just say, man, but you really good, I'm going to give him one more time, I'm going to give him one more try, or I'm going to give him one more try, because you're hoping that maybe he'll correct something, or you're hoping that maybe he'll do this a little bit different. If you don't have that conversation with him, how does he know? Because we're talking about healthy communication. We're talking about, communicating about sex in a healthy way.
Maybe it could be circumstantial. For some people, they might want to verbalize it after the act has been complete, whereas others are more hands-on, or you can make a joke about it. Maybe something can be a little more smooth where you do it in the moment. So I do think that it's very circumstantial.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay.
Okay.
I could take that. We can go to the next one. What's the next one?
So Laurie touched on it, but I want to ask, in this case, or I should say in all sexual cases, do we think that attraction or compatibility and comfortability is more important when it comes to an intimate setting or being intimate?
Is it you're saying, is it either or?
Correct. Do you think attraction or comfortability is more important during sex?
I would say comfortability for me. But I do think that but I would say I gotta go with comfortability. What you saying, attraction?
Depends on what phase you are in your life.
Okay.
Right? If you're young, and I think we talked about that. If you're young, you don't care if there's what chemistry y'all got. You all about
right. In and out.
Wham bam. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah. Right? But the older you get, then it's more about comfortability.
Right.
At some point, depending on how shallow you are, it's about attractability, right? And depends on what you consider attractable. Is it their career? Is it their physique? Is it their beauty? Is it their personality? Is their mind? So it varies, right? I'm not saying that's a vague question. That's a very good question, but I think that goes into the different phases you are in your life on what you deem as important to whether or not that's going to make you want to be intimate with somebody.
What's your answer?
I definitely think comfortability plays a bigger role because, to your point, beauty is going to fade. And if I cannot find a safe refuge or find a way to be intimate with you and express intimacy in a way that we can both understand, it kind of becomes this cutoff or this barrier to us actually building that level of intimacy.
Yeah. No, I totally get you. That's why I was agreeing. With the comfortability because and I guess like you said, it's like when you get to and I guess I reached that age early where it's just like, man, like I want to be comfortable. I'm tired of leaving my drawers on and my socks on. Like I got to get ready to go. It becomes a play. It don't matter how attractive that person is because you're not there. You're just there for the moment. And for whatever it brings, but it doesn't make you feel comfortable like, okay, well, dang, let me just lay back down for about a good 10, 15 more minutes or something like that. You ready to get up out of there. You know what I'm saying? And so I think when you're more comfortable, you can have those conversations. And because a person makes you feel open to have that conversation. Now, this next question you finna hit us with, I took a peep ahead of it. You could go ahead and bring it in. And this is a question for the men.
So men, how many times do you think a woman has faked an orgasm?
Say it again.
How many times do you think a woman has faked an orgasm?
With us?
Has to fake or have faked?
However you want to answer the question.
Now, is that to us personally, or you mean just a general?
However you want to answer the question.
Ooh.
And I'm really touching on a man's ego with this one.
Right.
So I'm really interested in seeing how honest with yourself you will be.
I mean, I'm married, so that's no secret, right? So you could tell if a person is faking, or if that mate is faking. Like if it's somebody you just met, then maybe not, because
you don't really know
this
them.
is getting deep because it may get me in trouble a little bit, right?
But
don't get in trouble.
I'm gonna try to stay surface on that. But if you feel that pulsating, right? You put your head on their chest and you can feel that heart pounding, right? After that, or you can't fake that. Yeah. That is something that you can't fake.
Maybe
I mean, you probably could, but like.
Now, what if she out of shape though?
I mean, you're gonna know that. You're gonna know that from jump. She's like, but still, excuse the extra, but I'm very in tune to a person. If I feel that pulsating feeling, like, yeah, that was it.
Yeah.
Now it's something that been like, make all that crazy noise and they don't even, they not even know. You're like, did you just?
Yeah.
No, I'm not there yet. You're like, what the? You fooled me.
Yeah.
So to your point, yes, that will trick a man. But if you're in tune with somebody, you know the difference. Like you could feel the difference. At least I can.
I think a lot of women fake orgasms, and I'm answering it in a general way as possible. You know, I think a lot of women are not pleased. I think that a lot of men go into it doing what they did with other women, and they think that same thing works with that woman. All of it's different, even the cervix. All of
it's not with the same person they've been with the entire time though.
Right. So I mean,
I would just say that
I won't think it's a long-term faking. Like I don't think, but then you got to think about those people who's unhappily married. You know what I'm saying? Like they are unhappily married and they know they can't deny him. So it's just like, get it over with. You know what I'm saying?
Hurry up and go to sleep.
Right.
Hey, what Bernie Mac said? Hurry up and bust a fucking nut.
Right.
Stop that hooping and hollering.
Right.
Shut the fuck up and bust a nut.
I got mine. You better get yours. But
that's a married couple shit.
Yeah, that's dead serious though, because because I mean, and then I know you're gonna. So your question to the women, how many of you have ever faked an orgasm? Have you ever? I mean, you could say
she brought it up.
Right. You say, hey.
No, but the look on her face, though, when you pose the question back, like,
I will be honest and say I have before. I did come back and say, yes, I did it because I was selfish. And I said, you know what? I got to get mine. Yeah. You know? But I think as I've gotten older and to the point of being more comfortable, it is important for me to express those things. And now I will not hold back. If the answer is no, no.
Yeah. Nah, I think that, and I think if more people are honest with it, you can definitely, because you can have a good man or you can have a good woman, and they don't know exactly every way to please you, especially if you guys are still getting to know. Now, if it's 5 and 10 years later and they still can't please you, it's a problem. That means somebody ain't teaching or somebody ain't learning. Mm-hmm. So you should be.
You don't be wanting to hurt people's feelings.
No, but you got you have to. You have to. It's not about hurting feelings when it comes down to it, because you're gonna hurt their feelings more in the long run. Mm-hmm. It's conversations that we just afraid to, talk about between us, and we just go on thinking that we doing the best. You know what I'm saying? Oh, they in love with us. They in love. The whole time she got a whole work boyfriend. She got a whole work husband, because you think you got it under control, or you think you know what you're doing, and then you guys are not being honest with each other. So I think you should always be open to talking to your partner.
Can I spin off of that?
Yeah.
So let's say we do get to the point of having work husbands, work girlfriends.
Mm-hmm.
If you cheat or infidelity happens in a marriage,
mm-hmm.
who's really at fault for that? The woman for not communicating, or do we think it's the man's fault for whatever reason?
Well, it's the person who cheated fault. That's what we're gonna run with. It's their fault ultimately.
And the infidelity part.
Right, and the infidelity part. But it's a product of what he didn't do. It's a product of, or what she didn't do. If she didn't convey that to him, if she didn't communicate that to him to let him know that, no, that doesn't feel good when you do that way. Or that doesn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? Just, it could be little things. But you have to be open to actually having those conversations with your partner. So you can, you know what I'm saying? You can know dialogue, and you can change. You can change. Like, your sex life is going to grow. Just like you grow, your sex life is going to grow. So I know I ain't doing half of the shit. You get more mature, or you figure out different ways. You know what I'm saying? It's different ways to do it. But you need to be open and honest about it and communicate.
Fair.
And previously, in my younger years, man, I would fake a Charlie horse quick to get up out of there. No, I can't stand here no more. So
you used to fake when I had you swimming them laps, and you was like, Coach, I can't breathe.
Right.
Coach, I can't breathe.
Right. That's where I learned it at. All right. That's not the last one, is it? That's the last one?
No. So my next. Well, yes, it would be the last one.
Okay, go ahead. You got that.
Okay. Men and women, but I do think men more. Do you all think that porn has influenced sex more negatively or positively? Let's start there.
If you speak in personal, I would say positively.
If we talking society-wise, then no, I would say no.
Negative.
I agree.
If you talking
society-wise, definitely negative, because I can't tell you how many countless stories I hear of females, and they're like, I feel like, when every time they look at porn and they just see all it is just bang, 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 and it's like nobody wants to make love anymore. Everybody just thinks it's, force and pain.
Oh no, not raining down force and pain.
So it's like,
that's crazy.
I think it's more negative.
Oh God.
And it touches on a little bit the question of, is comfortability or attraction more important? I think for women, we seem to think that we have to be the most attractive in order for us to be desired. And men might also feel the same way. But I think that it's just more so for women. It's a really tough beauty standard that we see women or video vixens. Maybe it's not even pornography. We see video vixens and we think that we have to be to a certain standard.
Live to their standard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and when it's on social media like that, I get it. But I think when you're married, it is fun for you. and you know that's why I said personally it's not a bad thing, because if you're sharing this with your wife or your significant other, that's that's what you guys are doing. That's between you guys, and that's your intimate moment that you're sharing. So I think it can be positive, or I think it can be positive for your relationship, you know what I'm saying, depending on how you and your mate are with each other. But I get, like you guys said, how it could be negative, where you just looking like, dang, Keisha got that flat stomach, booty here, and her thighs match her booty. Shoot. It can't, you know what I'm saying? It can
that comes the visual aid.
Right.
Hey,
Okay.
man, turn the lights off.
You want to talk about the second part?
Okay, I'll go into the second
chime in
one.
on that.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
I know I'm sitting over here in the corner by myself.
Nah, go ahead, bro.
As far as like negatively or positively, I think it's both, man. To be honest with you, I think in the wrong hands, it could give the wrong sense of what sex is about, or relationship is about. But in other forms, it's an actual teaching tool for people to figure out like what may work, or to the point of not knowing how to use those tools, they may be able to instruct you.
This is your YouTube.
So it definitely be it could be instructional, but just like rap, rap could be motivational, and depending on what scenario. I remember listening to 50 Cent, "Many Men Wish Death Upon Me." That got me through a lot of shit when I was overseas.
Yeah.
But in the wrong hands,
right,
it could be many men I'm about to go kill.
Right. It
for
could
the sake of it, I think
be a reverse.
Right.
Yeah.
So again, it depends on the person, man. If you notice that my statements are always like lopsided, right? Is big picture, because that's how the world is, right? You could win the fight and still lose the war, right? So for me, I've learned, and it took time to get to the point of where I'm at, being in the environment that I was, because I was very like black and white, like, nah, this is bullshit, this is blah blah blah, and then like everything kind of countered what I thought was right. Yeah. Until I got into an environment that was so broad that I had to
look at everything else.
Take the full picture and get that 3D vision, man. Yeah. So I apologize for not being black and white on some of my comments. I'm very big picture because of my experience. So I look at everything from a 3D vision.
But yeah, you got to see things from different perspectives. Is the caption what I read? Small.
Yes.
You read that correctly.
You read that correctly. That is the caption.
Hey, play the video again for Joy.
Nah. See, listen, you late. You should have came in. You could run it back.
Joy, tell us if you want to see the video. We gonna play it. We talking about size. How does it matter? What does it matter in your male choice? Who you want to spend the rest of your life with? Do you feel like you have to have a certain size in a man? All of those different things were mentioned in the video.
I will say, to piggyback off that, a little tiny bit of a fun story, because since I am now married, you don't have many fun stories anymore.
Oh, that's sad.
Right? No, I'm kidding. But I will say, like, it is kind of like a 50-50 coin to size matters, because I've had a female run away.
Oh no.
Uh-oh.
She,
that escalated quickly.
Right.
The room got dark. The room got dark.
Right. Shit,
hey, wait, we gotta tell it like it is. We gotta tell it like it is,
Hey, Joy said, no, I get you though. After your point, go ahead and play the video again for those that just coming in. Those that's coming in that want to see the video. We played the other video again too, so those that's just jumping in, this was a very unique conversation. Like I tell people, I love watching podcasts, so I take a little something away from all of the good stuff that I watch. And I thought everybody made valid points in this video, and I think that it's a lot of truth to it. You can go ahead and drop it.
I feel like a guy with a small joint, you gotta understand that like your dick ain't getting no bigger, and like she gotta take whatever you got in stock, like my boy Boogie said. And you know what I'm saying? And you just gotta be confident with your shit.
It's not the easiest for a guy that's trying to explore, doesn't have the Superman package, doesn't have boyfriend dick.
Your bag is going to be all of the shit that has nothing to do with your dick. You don't need that much to hit the G spot to get the clitoris, you know, like to stimulate the clitoris. I personally feel like if you a sass queen, you haven't actually explored yourself. You just think that I have to have this size because I don't know enough about my own body to know that I can get there with other sizes.
But I was a chick that I was dating, and she was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I only had orgasms with one nigga. The best sex I've had in my life. It was the smallest I've ever had seen in my life. And she was like, and I was like, I'll fall out. And she was like, man, we got into an argument one day, and I told him that's why I had a little dick. I'm like, so you teased this nigga about having a small dick, and it was the best dick you ever had in your life?
And he would never believe that.
Like, that's crazy.
Joy, it looked like you went back and watched it too already, but you said it's really about how he can explore the woman's body in the bedroom. I think what do you? Because I think I agree with the way she's saying it, you know, and that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier. You have to figure your partner out. It's just you know what I'm saying. Now, if you just saying if for whatever reason you need 10 to 12 inches to be pleased for whatever reason, I don't know why, but. It could be that maybe that's the ballpark that you in. That's just, I'm not. Listen, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just saying that that's the ballpark that you in. That's that's where you're at with. You've made up your mind that is what you need to please you.
Right, and to her point, you haven't explored yourself enough for you to think that this is the only thing that you can take to enjoy sex.
Right. And then I noticed that she said that you haven't explored yourself. She didn't say that you haven't explored multiple penises.
And I think I touched on that the last episode that I was on, where we were saying, you have to know yourself first before you start trying to get to know anything about someone else.
True.
And I think also we can only get to know someone as deeply as we've gotten to know ourselves.
Exactly. Because you know what you like, you know what makes you feel good, you know how you want it done, and it's no other way to convey that unless you actually have a conversation with somebody about it. Because unless you're just going to be the physical person trying to hold somebody's head and do all this other physical crap,
and then that turns into a situation,
right? Because then some people are not. They don't like that, and that could ruin the whole mood. So it's not like you just can't have a regular. If you can lay down with this person and let them enter you, or you enter them, let it be worth it, right? At least talk about it. You feel what I'm saying? So the last question that we got, since we ran the video back, the last question, you want to read it? Is that
no, you can take it. Go ahead, and then we can. Finish off how you want to.
Okay. Specifically, how men are taught to have sex and the beauty standards, expectations on women during sex. So you go ahead. Let me know if I'm saying it, if I'm reading it the right way.
So essentially, do we think that there is more pressure on women than men to perform in the bedroom?
No. What you think?
He looked up quick. Let's hear it.
You gotta repeat that. Is there more pressure on the who?
Men or women when it comes to performing in the bedroom?
I'll say men.
Yeah.
How so?
How so? Because a female has to be in tune with that man, and if he thinks that he's doing it right or whatever, you're the receiver, we're the giver, right? So
say that again.
You are the receiver, we're the giver.
Thank you.
Right. So if I'm not doing it right and I'm not in tune with you, I mean, at least for me, I can't speak for all males. My aim is to please, right? So if I'm not pleasing you, then the challenge is on me.
Right.
Right. And I think who said it last time? It's like, well, you don't, like, for a female, and she made a valid point, they don't have to get ready. They just have, excuse the French, a holder plug, right?
Right.
So they could drop lube in there and whatever, even if they're dry or not into it, it's still going to be ready. But a guy has to get up and be ready for performance. So I feel like there's more pressure on a man psychologically to fulfill the needs of that female.
And that's exactly why you all should purchase Mr. Lowry's kit and get right in 2025. Thank you.
Get your energy up. Joyce said, sometimes you don't know what you like until you meet a new partner. okay, I want you to elaborate on that one. Then she agreed with me and Larry that it's more pressure on men, and that's definitely a fact. Because if a girl could be, no, so Joy is saying, but because of men's ego, it's all in his head because of society. He has to prove a point. Yeah, I can see that. But then
no, it is. That's
you don't
all
want to be
of
in them
it,
group
because
chats.
that's exactly why, at least in my experience, why I felt the need to fake the orgasm. I was too busy trying to protect your ego to the point I wasn't even enjoying something that I physically and mentally agreed to do.
Right.
So it's I think it's all of a man's ego.
It does have a lot to do with a man's ego,
I
but
could counter that, man. Just like if he's not doing it right, fucking stop.
Yeah.
Like there's some females that would tell you like, yo,
Get off.
that ain't it.
Yeah.
Right?
I quickly learned.
You have to be blunt with men, because if not, you're actually causing the problem.
Right, you're
furthering the problem
abating
more
a bad
because
situation.
you're not being honest. If he's not doing it right, hey, time out, homeboy. That shit ain't working.
This ain't cool.
That doesn't work for me. And when females do that, then now that man knows how to now cater to your needs, which is he's supposed to do, in my book. But I'm just who I am.
And then on the flip side, and this is why I say it's not just solely on the man's ego, because a man, if he has sex with a woman and he has sex with a woman and the sex was bad for him, 9 times out of 10 he'll still have sex with that woman again. Now, a woman have sex with a man and the sex was bad, and she'll ghost him. That's it. That's it. She will ghost him.
Agreed.
So oh Joy, I'm sorry. You gotta keep watching, but be careful.
Yeah, that's what I said. I said you ain't supposed to be watching.
Right.
Driving,
Watch the replay. Watch the replay.
Right.
You ain't supposed to be watching.
Damn, she wrote a lot.
Right. So, but that's the truth. Like a woman is not a woman can call a man, and that man is gonna pick up that phone every time she call and accept it, and even if he know it's bad, whatever the case. The only way he probably won't if it's a little tart. But
or another woman is available who he prefers at the same time.
Exactly. So, a man has so much to prove when it comes down to it. And my thing is like Buddy said on the clip, everybody is built different. Every man is built different. You see the sign when they put up those social media things of a woman's vagina or a man's penis or whatever, and they all are different. And you got some women that love just whatever particular penis that she likes. Now, it doesn't mean that, like, if let's just say she has a dude that she just fell in love with this dude, she said, I'm gonna wait till marriage. And this dude now has a way bigger penis than the guy she's been dealing with. So now does she break up with this guy? Is it over because she can't take it? You know what I'm saying? Or is she gonna have a conversation with him and say, hey, we need to try different ways. We need to try different methods.
Exactly. Because
he could think just because he got a big joint that, oh, he laying it down. He going to Pound Town.
No, sir.
And she probably got
try again. Negative.
What you say, Joy? I agree. We must tell these men about y'all sexcapade. A nigga will still hit a tart. I guarantee that. I don't know. Some of them out here. Some of these dirty.
Not the sound effect.
Right. I think that because if a man ain't getting it, it is. I don't know. It's
if you're struggling out there, I guess I understand, but
I thank God life is never that hard for me.
Shower is a beautiful thing, some soap, water, work on your pH balance level. Matter of fact, see, that'd be a good segue. If you're taking the drops, you won't have to worry about being tired.
Right, and then you can. This way is the trick them. Take showers together. Make sure she clean. Here's the loophole.
No, sometimes it's just to direct the cup.
So you can wait. So you think now? I don't know no man brave enough to have that conversation with a female.
What?
They tell them that they.
You don't think so?
That they snapper ain't snapping. That the snapper is
to piggyback off of that, it's not that the man is afraid to say something about it. It's more so where we're at a point in society. So it's like as soon as a man says anything about a woman,
defense,
it's always automatic defense. Like, oh, why is he talking down on me?
That's fair. I think it's circumstantial.
That's the same thing as saying the man's sex game ain't good, and it's gonna be automatic defense.
He's gonna be in the group chat.
But you have to be blunt. If the shit stink, tell them, hey man, hey you. Your cycle.
It's a direct approach.
Right. when I was a young man, I stopped talking. I stopped talking to a female because of that. But I wasn't mature enough to.
Did you communicate?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was young.
He said he was a young man.
I was young. I was like in my early 20s, but I didn't know.
You didn't know how.
I didn't know how. I really didn't know how to like have this conversation with this young lady. Beautiful young lady.
Did she seem like a receptive person though?
Very beautiful, and I'm talking when I say beautiful, inside and out. But she wasn't like a vulgar or crazy. I just did not know how to say that to a woman. I didn't know how to say it. I didn't know no kind way to say it.
I don't think there is a kind way.
Because what do you say? Like, what do you do? You just.
Here go Joy starting.
What Joy said? Now
she said, when it comes to a woman's pH balance, is a man that imbalances it. Let's talk about it. See that's like a.
That is a very good point.
And that's a cop out. Because at the end of the day, you still gotta be in charge of
your pH balance.
Exactly.
How can you fully be in charge of it if somebody is infiltrating it with filth?
So then,
but that's
y'all gonna go talk
open or closed?
Are you gonna go talk to Dirty? Are you gonna go?
Is the Walmart open or closed?
Right.
That's how you control your pH.
Right. Fair. If y'all want me to have a conversation with Dirty Diana about
Dirty Diana.
If y'all want me to have, why y'all can't have that same conversation with Dirty Danny? You understand? Because if something is on the wee that's causing the pee to be off,
checking out.
We have to, like y'all. I think now.
Signing off.
I think now you have to. It's an open. So Joy, how would you say it?
There's not a nice way to say it. You just have to be direct.
You have to be honest
and say what it is.
It's all about the approach, man. We said it at the beginning.
So in your newfound growth,
there's no.
How would you approach a guy?
There's no. Wait, repeat that.
In your newfound approach, because you say you're different now in how you handle these situations. So if you had a guy that was throwing your pH balance off, let's just say that, or.
Well, first of all, my mind is going to a different place because if we're speaking about sexual activity and you are my only sexual partner, but I don't know what your current status is, that is a problem. And if you're not being transparent about it, not honest, but transparent about it, then that creates a breeding ground for a disaster.
True. But I'm saying, how will you approach him on that?
Approach him?
Yeah. Because
I feel like my approach should be respectful, but it should be very direct. Hey, I'm having an issue based on science, based on personal experience, based on how a woman's body works. My body shouldn't be experiencing these things. If I'm eating right, if you're drinking enough water, if you're using products that mix well with your natural pH
which they're
balance,
probably not doing all those things. We'll go.
Right.
Perhaps. Then that is a breeding ground.
Right. That's why you get the drops.
It's a breeding ground.
No, 100%. But to his point, though, if it's your first encounter with this person and their shit is not smelling right, is that you, or is that something that they're not properly taking care of their, as the lady said, punani? Yeah. Right. So
I would still bring it up, and at that point,
no, you should. I'm not arguing that point. I'm saying that you're saying now, are we transitioning to that? This is your mate that you're constantly having intercourse with. That now punani is not smelling well. Then there is a chemical imbalance between you and them. That maybe the stuff that he's eating or drinking, and now he's are you using protection or are you not using protection? Are you having an allergic reaction to the condoms that he may be using, or are you having an allergic reaction or a reaction to his pH balance that's now being placed in your pH balance that you can't control? And that's something different.
And I'm sorry to cut you off, but and I think that's an easier conversation for a woman to a man to have with a woman. That's an easier conversation. I like her too, Joy. Joy said I like her. But I think it's easier for a man or for a woman to have a conversation with a man saying that, hey, you knocked my pH balance off, or da 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 da. But for a guy to come to a female and say, you know, hey, things have not been smelling right lately. I don't even know, like,
That's
how
the
do
same
you
thing as if a man comes in the house from a 2-hour workout, or
There you
maybe
go.
he's out in the sun all day. Hey, can you
Hello.
shower before we
Hello.
get started? Because I don't want to deal with that.
Now that's true, but we talking about those ones that shower. They know they come into your house. They know what type of night it's gonna be. It's a nightcap, and they come to your house. They just had a bath,
They already prepared.
and you get in action, and then you got a problem. And so like this, because what you gonna do? Tell her to go bathe again?
Yes.
The bath ain't gonna help that.
Right.
said,
The
yeah,
bath
bath
ain't gonna help
The
that.
bath is not gonna help that, but it help us teach our men how to have this, because this is what we talk about when it comes down to it.
But you should be paying. I feel like before you even get to that point, you should be paying attention to somebody's routine. Is this person waking up? What products are you using? How active are you? How do you get toxins out of your body? How do you manage stress that causes your body to store things? Are you overeating, over drinking, over smoking,
Jay,
whatever it is?
you're very educated,
right?
You're very in tune to your body. But
I'm still human though, so
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that let's go look big picture, right? Were they taught how to properly take care of their pum pum? Did their mama teach them that, or did the streets teach them that? Right.
Okay.
So if they don't know what right looks like, then they're going to continue to do wrong things. That's the point of having the drops. If I don't know that the drops exist to get my cortisol levels intact, then I'm just going to look like a blob, or I'm going to start gaining weight, and things are not going to be working properly. So to your point, it's all about education. If you don't know what to do to control those pH balances, then they're not going to be able to do that. And me telling you your shit stink ain't go tell you how to fix it. Right. So how do you fix it? I don't know. I'm a man. All I know is your shit stank. Right. So go ahead.
At least with education, I do think, and I was going to say this earlier, you were speaking on something. I do think that it is important, especially as men, when you all are learning about a woman's body, understand what the phases are of her cycle. Is she in a follicular phase? Is she in the luteal phase? Is she actually bleeding on a period? Does she just learn and understand? I think if we, as men, if you all take that approach or take that initiative, it can help you navigate and perhaps even pinpoint what could be causing the issue.
Yeah.
See, that sounds all great and amazing, and I'm not disagreeing with you. But in society standards and how everything is put in our face and everywhere and it's plastered and commercials and so on and so forth, ain't nobody talking about none of that. They talking
but maybe
about,
because you don't know what you don't know until it's brought to your attention, which is why I'm saying to you, hey, it's no nice way to say it. You just need to find a way.
Especially if you
I agree with you
because if
on
you
that.
like that person like that, because this is what happened to the people that people don't like. If they don't like them, you're not talking to them again.
Right.
It's it. You gone. Joy said, y'all have to be talking about young bees. I mean women. I'm sorry. No, very, very much so. I've been out of the dating pool. I've been out of the dating pool for a while, but I see like how young women carry themselves until compared to like, how older women carry themselves, like young, like
they're not teaching them that stuff.
Right,
I guarantee they probably not.
You can smell a young girl's sit down air or walk by air, and you like, wait a minute, what in the what?
But to your point, but think about back in the day, like if you knew a girl was fast, right? When they have a certain aura or odor about themselves, you like, she smell like she fucking.
Right.
I'm gonna be real with you. Like they're back in the day, because they were screwing so much that they just had a certain scent that you like. Damn,
but no,
boy.
that's what the term.
It was a thing because nobody told them how to clean their shit properly, how to reset or do or douche or whatever it is that they were gonna do.
Yeah.
That was the thing. That
But
that is the
they was
thing.
teaching
So
them that is wrong, and being when they were teaching like some women, like you got some like Haitian women that bathe, and they believe in full,
Dettol
yeah,
and bidets
right.
and
So they do all of those
mhm.
different things, and you have some women that were taught that douching is wrong and it's not good for you, or using certain things in the vagina, scented things and those type of things like that. I think they started using it as an excuse not
or a
to
mask.
actually, or a mask not to, because you can spray that body spray down there as much as you want to.
Wait, you mean spraying body
you
spray?
said 2 hour
Yeah,
mark.
yeah, right.
Oh,
We was doing good, but this last conversation just took off, and then Joy helped it. This we gotta revisit this conversation, because I think when people go back and watch it too, and
Yeah.
realize like this is what it's all about. Chopping it up with Chop is like, I want to involve all these different dynamics of it in
Who
there.
knows? You may get somebody that's what they call them, people that gynecologists that may
Yeah,
be able to teach some of
that
us
can come on and
about
talk
how
about
to
it.
take care of your pum pum
Yeah,
to make sure it's right. You
yeah,
know.
yeah,
So I think to your point, man, this is a further discussion that we ventured into,
yeah.
and then we may have to look into people that understand that
Who-
that
that
genital area
right
that can help us
and
with better
she
understanding.
will look and read up anything, so you might could come on here and
Hey,
then just
bring them on.
give them some lessons, pull us some people in here, we can talk about it, and we can talk about what we could do to not do that, because you don't have to be cheating just to throw a woman's pH balance
correct.
off.
Yeah,
So
you could be drinking alcohol, you could be smoking
right,
cigars, anything
Right.
that's a
Overindulging.
yeah,
toxicity to your body could change your pH.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
So that'll be a good
that's a good segment
That's a
though.
good
That would be a good
conversation to
segment.
have.
Yeah,
And my engineer just told me I done hit the 2 hour mark. I was trying to stay at 1:30, but the conversation just got so good.
it
I'm
did.
I'm gonna let everybody close. Did you ever find that video? I want to put up Larry's information.
We passed 1:30 a long time ago, but you know it's okay.
Okay. We managing. We managing. And again, tell them you put your actual business
Yeah,
card.
I could put it again, but
Yeah, drop it in there again for those that came in afterwards. His business card in there, how he could be reached,
okay.
the products, all of that stuff. You guys make sure you check him out, show support. If you want to get in on the business with him, he does team meetings, all of those things, so you can link up with him. And this is our night. We wrapping it up right here. It's a blessing, Janessa. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Oh man,
Did you text me? I got your number.
We got
DJ.
we gonna have a salt and pepper effect. We gonna be
I'll send you.
seasoning
No, that's
it up.
right.
Season it up. I definitely appreciate you being here for me and being here just on this platform and all of the stuff that you helped me out with.
And thank you for allowing me to be a part of it. The level of authenticity and community you're building is unmatched, and I'm really excited to see where it goes.
I appreciate that. I'm trying to keep me. I gotta keep pushing every day. Shar, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming through, running the show. And Larry, we finna wrap it up. I enjoyed chopping it up with y'all. Till next Friday at the next.
See you then.
Later.
Friday
Right.
after next, man, we might have like a mobile, I don't know,
Right.
chopping it up on the streets.
Right. I need to get
You need to come with it, yeah, man. Set up shop, get a lounge chair.
right.
Hey,
Get
yo,
one of
let's
them big
get a
old
crowd.
trucks and ride out there.
Just
All
got
right,
the post
y'all.
earlier. Later.
Good night. Appreciate it.
Till
Love
next
y'all.
time.
Yo, let's go. It's time to chop it up with Chop, baby. Shout out to Rick Star on the track. I see you.